Welcome back to the Garden Hutch. Today we're going to discuss our plans for watering our gardens during the summer of 2023. Let's get going. The days are getting much warmer and summer is rapidly approaching, so it's time for folks to start thinking about their watering plan for their summer gardens. So today I thought what we would do is just kind of go through how we're going to water our garden, so maybe it could give you a few ideas on how to take care of yours. Before we go through the plan, I just wanted to review a few things to consider while making your plan. The first thing to consider is your gardens throughout the course of the summer are going to need 1 to 3 inches of water each week. So as of right now, it's April. We're trying to get our gardens about 1 inch a week, and they seem to be doing just fine. But in zone 7B, when July and August roll around, it's going to be above 100 degrees a lot. And it's going to require about 3 to 3.5 inches at that time of the year to keep our gardens in good shape. Another thing to consider when developing your plan is it is a good practice when watering to water the base of your plants and try to avoid getting the foliage of your plants wet. So what we like to do is we try to put troughs around our plants, as you can see here in our potatoes, and then in the troughs we'll cover those with just a light bit of straw. Now what this allows us to do is water deeply in the troughs. The water will sink in, and then when you cover it with just that little bit of straw, what happens is it prevents a lot of the soil from splashing back up on the plants, and that will help you avoid a lot of the soil-borne diseases. Real fast, I just wanted to make a note on this. Now here in zone 7B in Arkansas, we have a lot of pressure from diseases. That's why we take the time to plan on how to actually water the base of our plants. There are many zones throughout the United States and across the world that don't have a whole lot of disease pressure like we do here. So when it comes to things like this, your mileage may vary. It may not be important for you to avoid watering the top of them, but for the purposes of this video, I'm going to explain it the way we do it, so your mileage may vary. The final thing on my list of considerations while making your watering plan are, it is recommended to water in the early morning or the late evening. What this does, it allows you to avoid too much evaporation. It also allows the soil to soak up as much of the water as possible. So in our raised beds here, what we like to do to help with the evaporation rates, you can see here that our greens, we plant them relatively densely. And this just allows the soil to kind of keep a cool temperature. That's a great way to avoid a lot of evaporation. Again, also watering in the early morning or the late evenings will help you get the most out of the water you put into your garden. So the first part of our plan here on the homestead for 2023 is going to be to make sure that we get an accurate count of how much water our gardens are going to get throughout the course of a week. To do this, we use some very low-tech equipment. The first thing we do is we have a simple rain gauge that we use. Anytime that there's precipitation, I'll just go out, log how much precipitation that the gardens have got for that week, write them down, and at the end of the week, we'll accumulate all that just to make sure that we meet our goal. Again, now in April or so, we want to get right around 1 inch. As we progress all the way through to the heat and the height of the summer, we're probably going to look at 3.5 inches. So when it comes time to actually do the watering, I use a simple tool, just a plastic bottle with the end cut off. I'll bury it in my gardens. I'll put a few holes in it to make sure that the water can drain. But as I'm watering, I'll keep an eye on how much water are in these containers. That way I have an accurate representation of how much water is going into those beds. The second part of our watering plan for this year is going to be the way that we actually put our plants in the ground. We're going to make sure that we allow a bit more space when it comes to our rows so that when we go through to water, we can water between the plants over the top of the straws. Again, what that's going to do is prevent the soil from splashing up onto our plants. A lot of the issues that you have are soil-borne issues, especially when it comes to disease. So the more of the soil we can keep off the plants, the better. It will also allow the water to seep through the straw, keep the sun off the soil, and allow maximum absorption for the water you're putting in your garden. The third and final part of our 2023 watering plan is we're going to break our garden spaces into 3 separate groups. And each day we will water one specific part of that garden. As long as we keep up with the amount each garden gets during the week, it should be fine. So again, it's going to be in a week cycle, so we want each one to have 1 to 3.5 inches, depending on where we are in the summertime. Breaking this into 3 different groups works really well for us. The reason is I like to water early in the morning. Part of that is because I'm an early bird. I'm up before the sun. It gives me a chance to come out with a cup of coffee, look my gardens over while I water them and that sort of thing. The other reason for this is I want to get it done before the heat starts hitting the gardens. Now here in zone 7B, it is routinely 80 degrees by 8 o'clock in the morning. So if I can start watering at 4 or 4:30, I will be done well before the heat of the day hits our gardens. As always, I appreciate all you folks who stuck it out with us here till the end. Till next time, I hope everyone takes care of themselves. Peace.